promised, in the Cantina, joining us this week, the one, the only, the beautiful Catherine Tabor. You know her as the voice of Queen/Senator Padme Amidala on the Clone Wars, and has brought friend with her, director Chris Etheridge. Both of them here to talk about Haven's End, which is now available to stream online. I guess, Chris, as a director, that's the way the work gets out now. Everything's streaming, right?
It is. It's all a mixture of VOD, which is where we're at right now. Is we're on the VOD platforms, iTunes and Vudu and Amazon, and then it'll eventually land on the streaming, like probably Prime streaming and some of the other places. But that's it. We are in Walmart stores, but that's just that's a sort of a small thing now. The physical media is not as big as it used to be.
Yeah, right. Well, so if you want to see the film, and why wouldn't you, Haven's End, make sure that you check it out. Like he said, on iTunes, on Amazon, and it's in that period where it's not just out there to stream on demand. This is appointment. You gotta go in. You gotta rent it. That's right. You gotta pay the man and the lady in this case. Kat, it's always great to talk to you. And boy, this is the first time we have had you on the program where we're talking about a project where we can actually see you. This is so cool.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. And also it just feels like a little less pressure than Star Wars stuff. I'm like not worried about what I'm going to say and that kind of stuff, like a lot less pressure. And I have to say, Chris just sort of downplayed the fact that it's in Walmart. He is very excited that it is in Walmart and actually drove to multiple Walmarts. I'm outing him.
Chris, did you have one of those moments where you went to the Walmart and just like saddled up next to one of the employees and be like, "You see that movie? Yeah, I made that movie."
At close. What I did is I was looking for it, and several of the Walmarts hadn't put it out yet, so like the little sticker was on the shelf, but it wasn't on the shelf, and so I was like, "Hey, you got that in the back?" That was kind of my move there.
That's good, and it's worth pulling out and getting it on the shelves because, as Jason said, it's so nice to see Kat in front of the camera, and it's just because I sense an evolution here happening with the career of Catherine Tabor, where she's going to graduate from Queen Amidala to Queen of Scream, because there's some intense moments in this movie. I really enjoyed it. And Kat, I thought you were just fantastic. This is the only thing I'm going to say about it. It's a sweet little movie about a brother and a sister having fun in the woods, like Hansel and Gretel. And
that is exactly that's exactly how I describe it too. That's exactly it.
Well, it's interesting because it starts off in a situation where we think we're dealing with a terrorist attack all over the country, and it turns into something a little more supernatural. And I think people who enjoy things like The Walking Dead or even The X-Files or Lost, they're going to like this movie.
Yeah, we were really excited when our writer, Michael Harper, came back with this script after he had pitched it. And it's just a fascinating story that has all of that good stuff in it that you love.
Shot in Georgia with Georgia cast and crew, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Kat, you're from Georgia.
A couple of people.
Yeah, well,
Where
I
were
was
they
in
from?
LA. I was in LA at the time, and we have some other LA actors too.
Oh, okay. All right. Have you guys known each other for a long time? Kat, I know you're from Georgia, and Chris, you're obviously from Georgia. Have you guys known each other for a long time? How'd you find each other?
Chris directed another feature before this, and I had a small part on that a friend had just told him about me, came in and did that, and then we decided that we should work together again, and now we keep working together.
Yeah, and that friend is Robert Prago, who plays Harry in this movie, the Marine who.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
Good old Harry.
So yeah,
Harry.
That's how we met.
Yeah. Visiting Harry, you really need to have an appointment before you visit Harry.
Good idea. It's a good idea for sure.
Yeah, you want him to be expecting you. That's for
Right.
sure. Kat, this film, it's so intense. It's probably, I should say, it's probably too intense for some of our younger listeners. We know we have a lot of families who listen to the show, and it is a very intense movie. But Kat, have you ever done anything with so much fight choreography and just running around?
No, and that's one of the reasons why this was so cool. Was I got to do a lot of stuff that I've always wanted to do. And the actual stunt coordinators were amazing. So I got to do like really cool stuff and sort of be an action star. And that's kind of like what I've always wanted to do. I never intended to do voiceover. I started as an on-camera actress and then got into the Star Wars universe. And as you guys know, the rest is history there. So this was just sort of like finally getting to do, I've done a lot of on-camera stuff before, but nothing where I had the opportunity to do stunts and fighting and all of this cool stuff. And I love sort of apocalyptic end of the world stuff. So this was completely a dream come true.
Very much so. Would you see yourself doing more films of this kind of genre in the future?
I love sci-fi, so I'm not so much of a horror fan anymore, and this was kind of like a nice bridge between the two. So yeah, I would love to do more, and that's definitely what we're hoping for and working on.
Well, Chris, Haven's End, it certainly seems like it could be setting up a sequel, maybe. Do you see any more events happening? Because I got a lot of questions, quite honestly. When the credits rolled,
Sure.
there were a lot of mysteries still left to be explained. So I was hoping maybe that this could become a series.
So absolutely. So yeah. So two things there, and I'll address the second part first, which is that yeah, there's a lot of questions that are answered, and they're not answered on purpose. Like there's theories presented, and then things happen, and then we do kind of leave the ending very very amorphous and very kind of open to interpretation. And that was a goal of both Harper and me in terms of just like there's sometimes a tendency particularly in this kind of overly heavy duty amount of content that you see constantly. There's sometimes a tendency to over explain, and we just kind of wanted to push back against that a little bit. So that was a key thing, and it also does open up for exploring that mythology further if the opportunity arises. Obviously, the ending is well, I don't want to talk about the ending, but it's very specific. And yeah, I would love to. Obviously, that's a question for sales, right? Like that's the question for does it justify? Does the sales and the justify another one? But yeah, I would love to. And I suspect Kat would as well.
Yeah, and Chris and I actually since then we started writing together.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so now we actually have a script that we've worked on that would sort of be something else that I want to do in the future too. That's definitely sort of a sci-fi, but more of a techno sci-fi technology kind of crossover. So we'll see.
How cool would that be? Hey, Kat, last week we had your Clone Wars buddy James Arnold Taylor on the show, and I noticed he got a thank you in the credits. Did James provide any voices or anything we should keep our ears open for?
He ended up doing a lot of help with ADR when I was back in LA, for instance. And I can't remember, Chris, did he end up doing a voice?
He did not do a voice, but yeah, he helped record Kat so that so that we could get it done quickly and affordably.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Cool. Well, I just, I saw a familiar name there in the credits, and I was like, hey,
Yes.
I wonder what Jat did for this production. So now
I thank Jack for everything. I thank Jack for everything, really.
Just no matter what he does, what
Yes,
you do,
yes.
he gets thing. Do you want to thank him for this interview? Maybe
I do.
Get it out of the way?
I do actually,
getting
and I thank him for everything. Like I really do. So.
Well, as much as I love hearing you voice characters, I love seeing you on camera. But there is one character you voice, and we never got to actually see it come to light. And I was just reminded of it recently. Star Wars Detours. You were a part of that production. Princess Leia, you did her voice. Have you heard any updates on what's going on with that series? Are we ever going to see it?
No, and you know what's so funny is I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to talk about Star Wars at all because I haven't seen the holiday special. So I was like, I'm not going to talk about Star Wars at all. But I was like, I am going to say something about Detours because people keep talking about it. I guess the holiday special sort of brought up the idea that you could have Star Wars and have it be really fun and goofy. And, we've seen that before. So I don't know what's going on with it. I know that everyone involved in it continues to hope and pray that it comes out and the audience gets to see it someday because I love it. It's one of the most fun things I've ever done. And I would just love for people to be able to see it, especially Star Wars fans. I think they would love it. And I think we all could use a little joy and levity right now. And that is exactly what it is.
No, you're absolutely right.
I ask her this question at least once every like 6 to 10 months. I'm like, when is Detours? Are they gonna put it on Disney Plus? When is it?
If anybody is wondering if director Chris here is a Star Wars fan, we do have a photo that establishes his credibility, and he sent this to Jimmy Mack earlier. And let me see if I can pull it up here. Yeah, here it is. So this is, excuse me, I said a video. We have a photo here of a polar bear and an alien. So Chris, please explain yourself, man.
Along with vintage action figures. Let's talk about the vintage action figures.
I'm burying the lead here on purpose.
Right.
We've got the 3 vintage action figures: R2-D2, C-3PO, and Luke Skywalker. In fact, I'll throw you one better and say that not only is this a Luke Skywalker action figure, but it is a caramel-colored hair Luke Skywalker action figure, which is pretty rare when you compare it to the bright yellow haired Luke. Now, of course, we're boring Cat at this point, but
no.
These are in your studio, in your office. Where are these?
In my office. This is my editing. So over to my left here is my editing system, and that is sitting on top of my speaker on my editing system.
And they're there to inspire you?
They're just things, like my office, like most people's offices. You can see the guitar back there, like things that I find interesting, things that are creative, that kind of make the space a space where you want to create and want to work. And so I do a lot of editing on that system, and so they're just sitting there.
Did they survive from your childhood? Those are
yeah. I've had those for the first movie I remember seeing in a theater was Empire, and I was 4. And my parents say I saw Bambi before that, but I don't believe them. They're lying.
What's it matter anyway?
Right, exactly. But yeah. So those are mine from when I was probably 4 or 5. Yeah.
Did you know that Luke Skywalker figure is relatively rare?
I did not. That's awesome.
Luke
Although the saber is long gone, unfortunately.
That's okay. You can buy a reproduction and no one will know the difference.
Fair.
I did not know this about him. That was what was so funny. Like I had to say, are you a Star Wars fan at all? Which is funny, and it just goes to show you, like, he plays it really cool. Because there are other people
like us.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Like you guys.
Yeah, we play really cool.
Very subtle with your fandom. But I really didn't know. So that was kind of funny. And I was like, oh, Jimmy's not going to let you on the show if you're not a Star Wars fan. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, we've talked about it some, though. Like when you went to the premiere of Rise of Skywalker, that was, I was excited about that.
Yeah, but like I thought that was just, because it was a big Hollywood movie.
All right, fair enough.
we hadn't talked about it that much, so
that's fair.
But I will say a fun story from when we were working on Attack of the Morningside Monster, Chris's first film, where I just had a little part, and we were on location, and there were some other people that were from other franchises and stuff that were, had done more on camera work. But in the local town, the person who got an autograph request was me. So I was like, Star Wars wins.
Good for you.
Star Wars wins.
but you win, and you're also a familiar voice in our house because of Loud House on Nickelodeon.
Oh, that's awesome!
It's a big hit with my kids. They just love it.
Not to keep beating on the Star Wars Detours horse, but I remember when the marketing started to roll out for this series that was never released back in 2012. And Jason and I saw the full presentation at Star Wars Celebration. They showed a bunch of clips. And one of the clips I remember seeing is you were voicing Princess Leia, but you were also voicing 3 other, like there were Princess Leia triplets.
Yeah.
And they were all very loud. Was that inspired by the Loud House, or what's going on with that? This is the most insane project.
Are you serious? Those are her decoys.
Those are her decoys. Okay,
Hello.
I understand. I thought they were like her cousins, like they were triplets or something, and they all looked just like her, and they all had the same voice. Which was your voice.
Because they're her decoys.
Oh my God! So this series has to see.
Exactly.
No. This is Princess Leia.
Yes,
but Princess Leia.
But Padme's handmaidens are decoys for protection and all kinds of other things, and so it's a similar situation as that. These are her decoys. Yes.
I see.
But
why we have to see this series.
Exactly. And I thought you were talking about another character that I play when you said 3, but it's actually, I think, 2. It's 2, yeah. One of my favorite things I've ever done, I play baby Tauntauns in one episode. And it's the episode that is basically, I don't know if it's shot for shot, but it's pretty close to The Shining. And it is so good. Yes.
That's probably sitting on this.
It's probably a spoiler that I just said that, but like it's from so long ago that someone's gonna forgive me, and I'm like, release Detours.
Okay. You'll get a wake up call on Saturday morning. That's how it works.
Yes.
Wow, Star Wars Detours. I just think with the Disney Plus out there, this is a great time to roll out that series. There's like 30 or 40 episodes, all in the can, ready to rock. Seth Green produced this with George Lucas, and the great Catherine Tabor is also part of it, along with other fantastic voice talents. So that's just me making a plea. And
I'm with you. Like I would love nothing more for it to come out. Like I really would, and I think I just thought it was so smart and so funny that I just really want people to see it.
Awesome. Well, I hope we do. And let's put Chris's Star Wars acumen to the test.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
Don't worry about it. There are no wrong answers to the questionnaire. This questionnaire was given to us by Yoda himself. He faxed it to us. Yoda does not have email yet. He still uses. He's like the only guy who still uses faxes, but he doesn't care. He's Yoda.
It's a swamp. You can't get the Wi-Fi in the swamp.
And so we've had these for years and years, and we ask all Star Wars fans these questions. I believe we've put Catherine Tabor through the ringer on this before.
Yes.
Correct? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
And so now the Yoda questionnaire is going to be placed at your feet, Chris. And you're going to answer the questions. Remember, there are no wrong answers. There could be bad answers, though. There could be bad answers.
No, I believe that.
So we'll judge what you have to say. And there's no scoring system here or anything. Just judgment.
Just pure judgment. I get it. I got it.
Very harsh judgment, because that's what Star Wars fans do to each other.
Yes.
Right. For sure.
Are you ready, Chris?
Bring it.
All right. Okay. As we say, this was brought to us by Jedi Master Yoda. And the first question is, who or what, because we are talking about Star Wars here, who or what is your favorite Star Wars character?
That's a good question.
Well, Yoda asked it, so.
So the baby Tauntauns are my favorite Star Wars character now, as of right now. I do like the Clone Wars Padme. But I need to be honest, and I think now, and I would argue that this changes over your life, right? but
Oh,
I think
yes.
now I definitely have a great appreciation for Obi-Wan at this point in my life, and just sort of the kind of the stoic wisdom, as I try and find some wisdom as I get older. I think that he's a very interesting and more and more each day relatable character to me. So
Old Ben.
Yeah, but even like I don't know, the Ewan Obi-Wan is interesting because he's still got a little. He's not quite the super wise version that you have in the original trilogy, but just the he's got some of that, but he's not quite there yet, and I feel that every day. So
So you relate.
Yeah.
You relate to young Obi-Wan, but you aspire to be old Ben.
Fair. That's a great way to put that.
Okay, yeah, good. Do you like that, Catherine? Do you think that's a quality answer?
I do, and I'm a big Obi-Wan fan myself, although I'm partial to Clone Wars Obi-Wan. But I think that's a great answer. No bad judgment yet.
Okay, so far so good, Chris. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Take a breath.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna venture over to the dark side here because we asked you who or what your favorite is. So now I have to ask you who or what is your least favorite Star Wars character.
Least favorite, huh?
The one that if you never saw again, it would be too soon.
Notice Kat is not clearing her throat right now.
Right? Yeah. No.
The suggestively clearing her throat.
That's a harder one. Like, because I don't really think about it. I don't literally like sit there and go, oh wow, I could care less about that person. I don't really have a good answer for that. So I guess. Yeah, it's gonna be dead air. It's gonna be dead air.
Okay, he refuses.
All right, now
I don't have a good answer.
I'm going to throw you a lifeline, Chris, because
okay, sure, yeah.
I can tell you that there are tens of thousands of rabid Star Wars fans listening to this right now, saying Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah,
we love Jar Jar here, so don't get me wrong, but there's the low-hanging fruit that a lot of Star Wars fans will point to.
That's what I was kind of like. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My mind was like, well, you could just say Jar Jar, and that's an easy answer. And I do think Jar Jar as a character could use some work, but
okay.
But I think I'd like to give you a better answer than that, but unfortunately, I don't have one. So.
By the way, the name Jar Jar never sounds so good as when it's coming from the lips of Catherine Tabor as Padme. I always think it. She makes it sound so eloquent.
Well, I'm a fan of Jar Jar, so I think I'm glad that Chris didn't throw him under the bus. Entirely.
So we're gonna take a pass on least favorite.
But let me actually add something to that because that's a really interesting point about Kat that as someone who's actually gotten to work with her a little bit in the voice recording range, it's kind of phenomenal to like I'll say, hey, I need, like, we just did a new trailer and you guys may have even seen the trailer and it's got some voiceover work in it, and I'll just say, hey, we need these lines, and she'll send me 5 takes of each line, and I promise you every single one of them would have been fine. Like, it's just it's her ability to just deliver dialogue differently but perfectly it cannot be overstated.
She's a pro.
Wow.
Total pro.
The check's in the mail.
Total pro. And I think your refusal to answer that question is kind of virtuous. I think that's a very light side move. You don't dwell you don't dwell in hatred and darkness, and so you're inching closer to Jedi Knight status, Chris. So keep it up. You're doing great. You're doing
on
great.
Your way
Thanks.
to Obi-Wan. Yeah, for sure.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
So what Star Wars moment? You can think about, obviously, the feature films, the Clone Wars, the Rebels, whatever it is. Could be a novel, but what Star Wars moment always makes you smile?
And this, I really like that the end of Jedi, just like the 3 Force ghosts there, and and I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be show my age and be like, no, I really like the original one before they CGI'd Anakin in, or CGI'd Hayden in. Even though I am a fan of Hayden.
Guy. Yeah, you
but,
like the old guy. You like the Sebastian Shaw. Anakin there.
That moment, like just those like celebratory moment where it's sort of like the spirituality of Star Wars, right? Is that hey, they're all here. Everyone is all here in this moment of triumph, even the ones that have left us. And I think that's kind of just sort of a fantastic way to look at life if you look at it that way, And I thought that was captured so beautifully in that movie.
It makes you smile because it gives you a warm and fuzzy inside, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Good answer.
You're doing great, Chris, because a lot of people might have picked a humorous moment or something, equating smile with laughter, but you're equating smile with the warm and fuzzy. And again, I think you're notching even closer to Jedi Knight status here.
If you want me to pick a humorous moment, though, in The Force Awakens, when Harrison says that's not how the Force works at all, like that's fantastic. I laughed so hard when I saw that in the theater. Yeah,
that's a good one.
What you don't know is he was actually talking to J.J. Abrams in that moment,
right?
And he's like, "Oh, we'll put it in the picture." That's not how the Force works. Sorry.
He's like, he was scolding him. It was, and they left it in the movie. But actually, Kat, didn't you do voice work for The Force Awakens?
Yes, I did. Charging the weapon,
Where can we hear you?
You can hear me say "charging the weapon, sir," or "charging the weapon." Something about charging the weapon.
You're charging the weapons
in the Star Killer base thing. So.
All right, keep your ears open. A shot in Star Killer Base, so it's one of those First Order officers, and they're probably moving around.
Yeah, but
in the war room.
You can totally tell that it's me when it happens, because when we did that, they had a bunch of people, and they had a bunch of people with British accents, and I was like, "There's no way they're using Padme," and they did. And like the first time I saw it, I was actually with James Arnold Taylor, and I was expecting to hear all of the stuff that he had done and Matt had done, because there was just more boy dialogue. And then we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I was like, "Wait, that was me!" And and other people noticed it too. So, woohoo!
That's awesome. That's great. But that's Padme. Then you're saying that's actually Padme in the Force Awakens.
It's really not, but she sort of sounds a little bit like Padme. So.
Oh well, to me it's Padme now. I can't. Next time I watch the movie, there's no way I'm gonna get that out of my head. I'm
not sure how it works. Not sure how that works, but I like it. I like that storyline.
We'll find a way to retcon that right in there. We'll figure it out.
Absolutely.
Believe me.
I think I love it.
All right, Chris, we're going to go another direction, and I'm so curious as to how you're going to answer this next one, because the smile moment was so profound. But what moment in Star Wars makes you sad? So if that moment makes you smile, what moment makes you sad?
The thing that came to mind, so I'll just say it because I think that's probably, it's one of those things where when you think about it and something pops in your head, you should just say it is the very last part of Empire where they're just standing there at the window, and like they're just, everything is falling apart, and and there's a little bit of hope, obviously, but it's also extraordinarily bittersweet, and I just think that kind of mixed emotion that comes out of that shot and that scene is extremely sad, but also like just like the perfect amount of a mix there.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful moment.
Wrong answer.
Oh my!
No.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I know what she wants me to say.
Okay, well then say it.
It was sad when she died. It was very sad.
Exactly.
It was so sad. when yeah.
Thank you.
Padme again.
Yeah.
Kat, I know you've been voicing the Queen Amidala books. You've been doing the audio books for those. And
Yes.
somebody told me you did a Yoda voice in the audiobook, and I scrubbed through it and couldn't find it. Is this true?
Oh boy, yeah, it is true.
So
When
you
you do,
do-
when you do the audiobooks, you have to do everybody's voice. The
Yeah.
one that I think is the funniest that I do is Palpatine. I mean, it's like because it's so far out of my register to do Palpatine, but he has a lot of dialogue in one of the books that it's funny. I took a picture of my face and I put it on a Palpatine body and I sent it to the producer because we were laughing so hard about it. I was like, you know who you're going to call from here on out when you need Palpatine. But yes, I do a Yoda voice. And then I think I might have even already said this, but the one that was the most pressure was to do James Arnold Taylor's voice. Like,
oh no.
Oh.
when you're doing your friends, apparently some people think I did Anakin pretty well, which was shocking. But the James Arnold Taylor voice, I was like, oh my gosh, like when you're doing your best friend's voice, he would be fine doing mine. I'm sure he'd be like perfect. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that was the most pressure. But yes, I do Yoda somewhere in there. So
So
There you
listeners,
go.
keep your ears open. That's an exclusive for the audiobook. I think a lot of people are going, why doesn't Jimmy just ask her to say may the force be with you as Yoda? But I would never do that. I would never make that request of you, ever. Waiting.
I'm pretty sure you've done that before.
I know I've done that before. I think
I
I,
don't
do
think
that
I
every
can
time
say.
you're on the show.
I don't think. Have I said "May the Force be with you"? What's something more Yoda-ish?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Do or do not.
Oh my gosh, and I have a painting of that too. I really should. Let's see. Well, don't show my face when I do it.
Put a
Should I
put
show
of
Yoda?
Yoda. Do we
Oh,
have
Put a picture of Yoda.
Yeah,
I think
we got to
can
get
do
really
that.
in the mood here.
All right,
Come
hold
on,
on.
you
Get
got
the
to have
picture of
Yoda on
Yoda up
demand. Where's the hologram
Okay.
Yoda?
Hold on, we
Yeah, can't
got
we
it
just-
coming up. You're putting a lot of pressure on
I
me.
got this guy,
there you
well,
go.
that doesn't count. That's baby Yoda.
Ron Yoda. I do his voice. What like?
Meep. All right, let's see. Let's get a good. Oh, all right. Here we go. This is perfect. You don't get much more Yoda than this right here. All right. There
Okay.
it is.
Let's see. Do or no, I can't even do it right now. Hold on. Usually I have a director helping me. Do or do not. There is no try. No, I mean it's so bad. I'm actually.
I feel it.
I'm actually much better in the book. Like there's so much pressure right now, and truth be told, I've had a little bit of wine. So
Well, that should take the edge off. Chris, start directing her, will you? Step up.
That voice directing is not my forte. That's specialized skill.
Kevin Thompson, who does all of the Star Wars books, is just so good. And you know, when you're working with him, you're in a vibe, and he's just great, but he's no pressure, and you just I don't know, it gets there and it gets to where it's decent enough. My Yoda in the book is much better. I promise. You should listen to it. Queen's Peril.
Queen's
Queen's Peril. Yep.
Oh my
we'll
gosh,
find a sample of that here, hopefully
Yes.
before the show ends.
Fans, I
Yes.
got to tell you, fans are crazy about that book. There's so much.
Yeah.
There is a real. I remember when we would talk about how the fandom around characters like Wedge and some of these had just exploded, but there is such a passionate fandom around Padme, and you don't see it as much because we don't go to conventions. But when you go to conventions, man, oh man. I would imagine that you feel that wherever you go. Like you said, you were the only one that got autographed or asked for an autograph on the set of that other film.
I was just thinking about this the other day that, obviously I'm biased, but Padme as a character I think is under appreciated isn't exactly the right word, but there is such a fandom of Padme, and it's a really diverse group of people, which is what's so cool. Like it's all kinds of women. And a lot of guys too that just really love her and resonate with her and something about her. I think it's her integrity and her goodness. But yeah, it's touching.
Yeah.
And I see it daily in fans who are cosplaying or just writing stuff or sending things to me. that she's just loved, and that warms my heart. It really does, because she's not like a bad guy or the star of the show, but she's loved, and it's really touching.
She definitely provides true north in a lot of ways, because, like you say, the integrity of that character, her absolute dedication to doing the right thing at all times, maybe with the possible exception of keeping her forbidden romance out of the public eye. But you know what? We can't, we love who we love, right? I mean, we can't. What are we going to do?
It's funny because Chris actually saw this. I just worked on another franchise thing, and the episode aired this weekend. And one of the fans on social media was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that Padme's on the show." And I said, key theme that you might notice: questionable taste in men. So,
all right, what show is it?
It's called The World Beyond. It's the new Walking Dead spinoff.
Oh, you're on that?
Yeah, I was this weekend. I'm not on it all the time, but
you're kidding.
No.
Oh my God!
Congratulations! That's awesome.
So that's right. Also, we were talking about apocalyptic. Narratives. It's my thing.
We had no idea you were on the new Walking Dead spinoff. That's great.
It just happened this weekend, and it's just it's not like a big thing or anything, but it was a lot of fun as someone who loves zombie stuff, apparently.
And you survived, right? So did you survive?
I did survive, but I don't. But I wouldn't read into that as far as, hey, like anything can happen.
Can we get the letter writing campaign going? We need to make
Please
this
do. Yes.
A major returning character. We also need to wrap up the questionnaire with Chris.
Yes.
He's sitting here waiting for the next question, prepping, sweating. Nervously, I'm sure.
Was I waiting for it? That's interesting. I didn't realize.
But I can definitely do that. All right. So the next question is, what is your favorite Star Wars line? There are so many classic lines. We just said, do or do not. There is no try. May the Force be with you. But what is the line? You've got one.
There's only one. There's only one that matters. It's I love you. I know. I mean, it's
That's the one. And of course, obviously, as a Star Wars fan and as a filmmaker, you know that was improvised on set.
Right.
And So
can you
great. Imagine what it would have. Go ahead, Chris.
That's his character. In 2 words, that's his character. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful moment.
Can you imagine if he would have gone with the script? It was like some lame line like, "I love you too, and I'll be back, and Chewie's going to take care of you, and it's all going to be good."
That's exaggerated. You're exaggerating.
Well, it was something like that. But I think it was "I'll be back" or something.
I think it was, she says, "I love you," and he says, "Well, just remember that because I'll be back." And they felt like that felt a little flat when they were shooting.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, no, but I think that's from a filmmaking perspective, it's really important. Like that, sometimes in the moment you need to look for something different. Like the script is anyway for me. I guess I should probably just preface this up by saying for me, the script is a guideline, and it's an important guideline. You don't want to just ignore it. But at the same time, like sometimes you need to step away from it. And sometimes you need to do something different. Either the scene's not working in the moment, or inspiration strikes and you're like, oh, here's something that's a little bit better. And I think that some of the most fantastic things happen when you just like allow that space while you're working.
All right,
we had that in Haven's End. Not to go back to the reason we were here.
No, please do.
Yeah, if anyone forgets, here it is, Haven's End.
No, thank you. But we had a couple of improv things, and the script was really, like, Michael did a great job, but there were a couple of moments, because sometimes where you think you're going to shoot a scene or something like that changes a little bit, and then you just are on the fly, and then, like Chris said, sometimes that's like the way magic kind of happens.
Yeah, there's the one that hits me off the top of my head is there's a line for there's candy, which is I won't spoil that, but if you that was completely improvised. The script didn't have anything about candy in there, but it had something else that didn't end up being. It wasn't practical to talk about it because the location didn't fit it anymore. So we had to come up with something on the spot to fill in, and that's what we came up with. So
cool. Very cool.
Well,
Very cool.
I've got one last question for you, Chris, and I'm going to have to slightly change it up a bit because I want to reflect your profession as a director. So let's imagine that there's a new Star Wars movie to be made, and you're directing it, and over your shoulder, as executive producer. No, it's not Kathleen Kennedy. No, it's not J.J. Abrams. It's George Lucas himself. What would you like to hear George say to you, Chris, as you call cut on the last scene of your Star Wars movie?
That's an interesting question.
He's speechless.
Yeah, right. Well, it's an interesting. It's a very interesting question. Because I mean, I love George and what he's done, but I'm not the only fan. I'm sure that has maybe hasn't loved everything that he's done. Is a good way to put that, right? But I still have like a just a enormous respect for his vision because it's an unreal vision, right? Like it's just beyond what certainly what I could come up with and what most creators could come up with. So yeah, I think that like I would just like him to, I guess in that scenario, to have him feel like I brought some sort of justice to his world.
There you go. We brought a lot of justice, kid.
Yeah, nice.
Wow.
Well, the film is Haven's End. It's streaming now on Amazon. Is it streaming anywhere else? Just Amazon, or you can get it at Walmart?
It's VOD on iTunes, Amazon, Vudu, Google Play, Fandango
Everywhere.
Now. All the big major VOD platforms you can rent it or buy it. And then if you want it physical, you can buy it in Walmart stores. You can get it on Amazon.com as a DVD. And probably best like any of the online the big retailers, like you can't go into Best Buy and get it, but you can buy it from BestBuy.com. You can buy it from Target.com. It's all over the place. If you want to find it, Google Haven's End and you will find it. I promise.
And it's so much fun to see our friend Catherine Tabor in front of the camera. You did a great job, Catherine.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having us. And I'm really proud of the way that Chris survived. Like,
I'm a little surprised.
I
hope
keep
we
looking
can
at
have
this
you guys.
picture of you, Kat, with the blood splatter, and I just it's so nice to see you, all cleaned up and you're safe and sound. And
yeah,
spoiler
I loved
alert.
that. I loved that
Spoiler
picture. Though.
alert.
I mean, I love that whole.
Spoiler alert, that's not her blood.
No.
oh,
I just wanted to point that out. But it's great, and hopefully we can have you guys back for your next big project, whatever that might be.
That would be great. And you guys,
That'd
as
be awesome.
usual, it's so much fun to hang out with you guys in the cantina.
Yeah,
my-
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
This is a Skywalker wine glass. So,
Oh, very nice. Very
yes,
nice.
just because it all goes back to Star Wars. But thank you guys so much for having us and for always being so supportive of me. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Always.
We love you, and you always have a place here.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
This has been a blast.
All right.
Yeah, this has
Thank
been a
you
blast.
both so much.
Thank
Happy
you, Chris. Thank you,
Thanksgiving,
Kat.
and may the Force be with you.
May the force be
And
with you. Always.
Cut that Yoda impersonation, please.